What's up guys, and welcome to the finale of my F1 2017 career mode for season 2 here for the final race of the season. But first of all, just jumping into a little classic event that we did at the end of the last episode, which I didn't actually showcase in the video itself, but we managed to just get the challenge on the last second. We overtook the crucial last car, but it's going to mean that we are going to get a core competency upgrade to basically halve the time it takes for upgrades to arrive. But before that, we're going to have a little chat with Chris regarding this final race.
Hi. Can I have a quick word? Listen, I don't think the car is hitting its performance targets right now. We really do have to find a lot of improvement. Take a look at the report and we'll talk about it later, okay?
So, Chris is a little bit concerned, but don't worry, I've got this all wrapped up. I think I'm going to be pretty good at the end of this episode. As you can see, Williams have brought an upgrade to this race, and they've pulled away slightly, but I'm not too concerned. We've got over 2,000 points saved up in the R&D department, so we're looking pretty good right now, and we've still got this entire practice session and just entire race weekend to get through before we even get to the final tally of R&D points. And then I'm also hoping that we get the end of season bonus that we got in season 1, because if we get anything like that, then it's going to be a very, very tasty amount of resource points that we can spend at the end of this episode and really plan towards next season and really make a big push into the top 4. But as you can see, jumping into now the on-track action, and we're here for the first practice session, and probably the only one I'm going to feature in over the whole weekend. And we're just getting through the practice programs at the moment, and the car was working very good around here. I've got to say, the car felt hooked up to an absolute T. Very little tyre wear, which is very good for me, and hitting good lap times here and there. And overall, the car performance was very, very solid. I was running a little bit lower wings than what I normally run around here, and it seemed to work quite well for me actually. So really just I think that's also a testament to the downforce upgrades we've done all season long, which allows us to run lower aero, and I really felt in my element around here. The car felt really hooked up, and with Dhabi, actually a really good track to drive. I was rather impressed with how well it was, how much fun it was to drive on this game. We get a little bit of traffic there with Stoffel Van Dorn on the last lap of the qualifying performance test, but still a green score nonetheless. And we then move on to the race strategy, and once again here, no major issues as we get a purple score, unlike the last race in Brazil where we had some pretty major issues, to be honest. But Brazil was just a write-off, wasn't really a great race, and struggles all round. But overall, that was practice, a very solid session. And we're now going to move into qualifying, which is a session where you can really set up your weekend for good or for bad, and hopefully in my case is for good, because I'm looking forward to this race and I want to try and end the season off with a high. So here we go, now coming towards the end of our first lap in qualifying. As we come out the final corner now, a pretty good lap to open things up here. Nothing spectacular, but we are going to get just behind Massa and in front of Carlos Sainz for P5 at the moment. But I went out for another attempt because I left a lot of time on the table, and we're going to see where we can improve now. As we go into turn 1, 100 meter board on the right hand side, you want to just drop it down to 4th gear for the first corner. I missed my apex slightly, which cost me a little bit of time. Even though I improved on my delta, I lost probably about half a tenth there. As we now go flat out through turn 3 and now across the first sector split, which feeds into turn 4 just after the 100 meter board, 4th gear, and then a 3rd gear down to turn 5, and then into the hairpin of turn 6, 3rd gear corner, possibly 2nd. I prefer 3rd because it gives me much better traction onto the back straight here, the first of 2 big back straights. And now we wait for the DRS to become available. So far the lap is looking very good, up on that delta by a couple of tenths of a second. And now here into the braking zone, 100 meter board, just slow it all down, 2nd gear to really get the nose in here and avoid the orange sausage curb on the inside in both of these corners. And now get the traction on the exit, absolutely critical that you get a good exit out of here. DRS wide open, and we're almost half second up on our previous best lap in qualifying here. As we now go into this very tricky 90-degree left-hander, which feeds into a right-left-right sort of combination, a right-left chicane. Very tricky section this, because obviously you can lose the back end if you've got a very unstable setup on the car. And then a little off-camera 90-degree left-hander straight after that. And now flat out through these double right-handers, and then into this 90-degree right-hander, 3rd gear, really trying to get the nose in, very easy to lock up into here. And now we go through the double apex left-hander here underneath the hotel, and a very nice run through there, currently on a very good lap here, over half a second up on my previous best. As we now go into the penultimate corner, 5th gear, really trying to push the limits of the car. And then in the final corner here, 4th gear, I missed my apex slightly, but I get good traction on the exit, using a little bit of the track limits there to just to get the better traction. But we come across the line, and the lap is going to be good enough for P7, so not too bad, and pretty good lap there to cap things off in the final qualifying of the season. Then I think that's going to give us I would say best of the rest, but Verstappen actually qualified behind us, so there was a P6 on the table there, beating Massa, which we just missed out on by about a tenth of a second, so we could have had a P6, but still not too bad. The lap felt pretty damn good, and we beat our teammate Esteban Ocon, who's down in P10, so overall, a very solid qualifying session with a Ferrari 1-2 and a Mercedes 3-4 to sort of be the front of the pack, but I'm looking forward to it. It's been the final qualifying of the season, but we're now going to move into Sunday for the last race of Season 2 of my career mode. Right, so here we are then for the finale of career mode, the last race of the season, and we qualified P6 on the grid. Very good qualifying position. We did qualify P7, I believe. However, Felipe Massa, I think, has had a grid drop due to some sort of penalty. So we're going to be starting this race from the third row of the grid. So all Ferrari front row, and then I believe it's 2 Mercedes in front, and then a Red Bull to my right hand side, and then a Red Bull directly behind on my right in P7. So it's going to be a very interesting grid here. We're in the shuffle with the big boys. I don't know if we'll have the pace to keep up with them, but I'm going to try my hardest. However, I'm looking forward to this. So just to close out the season and see if we can obviously stay ahead of Ricciardo, which should be fairly simple unless Ricciardo basically wins the race and I do not score any points. So I'm looking forward to it, and also I'm looking forward to hopefully what should come after this race. But other than that, it's the last race of the season. We're just going to have a quick look at the strategy, which is going to be a 2-stop here and going on the super softs a couple of times, switching up the original recommended strategy. Also overfueling the car quite a bit here because I want to try and be nice and aggressive, and also we haven't got to save the power unit this race as it is the last one of the season, so we can basically go absolutely ham sandwich on the power unit. So without further ado, I'm looking forward to, hope you guys are too. If you are, then slap a like on the video, and let's jump straight into the last race of the season. Right then, here we go. 5 red lights for the final time in season 2. And it's lights out and away we go here. It's a pretty okay start from me. I'm going to cover the inside. Ricciardo also after a pretty average start. It's team by team order as we go to turn 1 here. Going to try and get the inside line on Ricciardo. Can we get it? Yes, we do. Up into 5th place. Good start to the race here behind the 2 silver arrows. And both top 2 teams line and stern here in 2x2 order as we go into these sort of curves for the first time this race. But a very good start here to this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and now we've got to see if we can keep pace with these guys and see what our pace is like. I want to try and be within DRS once that becomes available, so we might have to use a little bit of rich mix reserve to try and keep up with these guys. But right now I feel confident. I think we can do something in this race. Who knows, a safety car here and also will always help, but the Ferraris are already battling early on here, so let's just try and follow these guys and see what our pace is like. Okay, so far a little sit rep, and we haven't really had the pace to keep up. I mean, we're not doing too badly. I mean, we are stretching the guys behind. It's only Ricciardo who's really keeping up with me, but Vettel sort of dropped down through the pack a little bit, and he seems to be struggling. And both Mercedes have passed him, and I want to see if I can stay within DRS for this next lap, because Vettel might be a possible overtaking opportunity. I mean, I'm clutching at the straws here. It probably won't happen, but I mean, Bottas just got past him, so I want to try and at least stick within DRS of Seb this lap. So let's see if we can do so. Okay, I'm within DRS, but Vettel's just too far, so I'm just going to have to try and keep him within our sights, I reckon, for the next few laps, and hopefully get it to the pit stops and be still within range of the throw. But I mean, I'm not doing too bad so far. I've got to say, pace has been pretty good. I'm really driving on the limit of this car's ability. We shouldn't be this high up, but I'm really pushing the car, because I can sniff a top 4, I can really just find out a couple of extra tenths, that extra 5% in the car at the moment. So let's keep it going here, but I highly doubt obviously we'll be able to actually make inroads into the top 4, but so far this is a bloody good performance in the last race of the season here. Okay, so I'm going to go aggressive on strategy and commit to my 2-stop. It looks like that AI are going to stay out for a little bit longer here, so I'm going to be somewhat of an early stopper, but I'm going to commit to my strategy and basically avoid having major tyre wear. So we had a very good first 6 laps of that Grand Prix, so we're just going to continue on here and just basically run our strategy. A 2-second pit stop, absolutely fantastic from the boys, and we're going to be on fresh super soft tyres, and we will rejoin a little bit of traffic here. However, I'm hoping that we can obviously time it right, and that they will basically come into the pit lane and we won't have to deal with them too badly. But here we go, we're going to rejoin just behind Stoffel Van Dorn, so he'll be easy pickings, I think, on the back straight. Right, a good exit out of there. No need to use rich mix as it is the McLaren Honda. So here we go in the slipstream. Just going to pull to the right hand side, and it's going to be a fairly straightforward move on the Belgian. And there we go, up into 19th place. Right, we've got a few cars in the pit lane, which is going to promote us up a few positions here. So let's just get those positions back, and there we go. We're up into P15. Let's try and now overtake the cars on in front of us on track. We've got a little train of cars that we're going to have to pass. So It's not going to be ideal for time, but let's try and make the moves anyway. Right, slipstream on Alonso. I should have enough on these fresh tyres to make the move, and up the inside on the brakes into the chicane, and there we go. Nice and easy, just close the door on Alonso, and that is us up into P14. Lance Stroll is up next, so let's try and get the hammer down and keep on pushing here. All over the back of Lance Stroll at the moment. The Williams car very slow through the corners here, so we're going to try and pick him off fairly swiftly. And we've got Hulkenberg, I believe, in front on ultra soft compound tyres here, but these guys are going so slowly, I need to get past them as soon as possible. So Hulkenberg pulls off into the pit lane. Both of the Saubers stay out, so that's rather interesting, but we're going to be up in the P13 now, so let's try and get past a few of these guys this lap. Right, here we go then. I'm going to try and line up a move on Lance Stroll as he's holding me up quite severely. He's just going to go for a pop down the inside, and there we go, just sort of squeeze him out on the exit, and there we go, nice little move. And now we could try and line up Ericsson for a pass, although Stroll doesn't seem to be done just yet with me. And here we go, we're going to make it 3 wide with the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson here. Going to be a tight little squeeze, but we're going to have to try and commit to the move. Can we go around the outside of 2 cars here? Very tight, but we are going to commit to it, and I think we've absolutely done it. And there we go, lovely move around the outside, and absolutely got all locked up into that corner, but we pulled it off and we're into 11th place. A few more cars exiting the pit lane, including the likes of Daniel Ricciardo there, who we're just going to rejoin in front of. He's going to the soft compound tyre, which means he won't be stopping anymore this race, so luckily we've stayed ahead of Ricciardo. But yeah, this is very interesting strategy there from the Honey Badger. Also has a Ferrari up the road there, huge train of cars also just going onto the straight now. So lots of different positions and lots of tyre choices selected, so it's going to be interesting to see how this all shapes up once we get towards the end of the race. But here we go, we're behind Pascal Wehrlein, and he's actually got some pretty good straight line speed. I'm going to assume he's in rich mix, but here we go, I'm going to crank it up into rich myself, and this should be a fairly simple move up the inside on the German here, and make the move. And there we go, lovely stuff into P9, and we can now get the hammer down and chase down after Sebastian, who is on a soft compound tyre, so we could try and make the move on him and try and hunt him down if we've got the tyres. Right, so we was catching up to the leaders who are being held up by those 3 cars in the pit lane, but they've now been released. As soon as I'm about to get within DRS of the top 3 there, or sorry, the top 3 below Raikkonen, they're now going to start pulling away again. Also, Ricciardo is still just sitting on the back of me thanks to some DRS assistance, which is very frustrating. But pace is good at the moment, and I definitely can keep my own. I've just got to try and just keep going, basically. I am thinking of switching my strategy and going onto the Ultra Soft in the final stint, because I reckon I can make it work, and I reckon I can get a few laps out of the Ultra Soft. So I'm probably going to pit around lap 19 for Ultra Soft tyres. So I've got to try and make this tyre last another 6 laps or so. But right now, Ricciardo is looking pretty pacey. He's going to try and go for the move, I think. He thinks better of it, but he's looking dangerous at the moment. Right, personal best, Science in the pit lane. Still got some good pace on these, which is very encouraging. Right, still doing personal best. I mean, the 3 in front have got some better pace than me. It's not incredibly, strong. I mean, it's about 4/10 a lap faster, but it's enough to that every lap you can see they're pulling away. Ricciardo's just staying there because of DRS. Is really frustrating because through the corners we're about the same, but I know on the straights I'm faster, but because of DRS that gets neutralised, and he actually catches me a little bit. So slightly frustrating, but we're doing well at the moment, and we're nearing the pit stop lap, which is lap 19, and so far things are going rather well. I'm only using rich mix on the straights every lap, and the fuel's pretty much sitting where it is on above plus 80. So so far so good, and that final ultra stint I'm actually very much looking forward to. Very impressed with this tyre. It's actually not even wearing that much, and we're going to comfortably get to lap 19 for ultra soft tyres. So very, very solid race tyre, this ultra soft. It's lasted brilliantly in this middle stint, and I'm now looking forward to the ultra soft stint. Raikkonen's actually come in for another stop, so I'm going to guess he didn't actually go into the soft compound tyres, but it's going to be interesting. We've got the top 4 right in front of us on the same straight pretty much. So we're at the race here today. I mean, we're at the races. We are somewhat competing with the top guys, and there should be more of that to come hopefully next season with what I've got planned after this race. Okay, so I'm going to fast track my pit stop for ultras and come in this lap, because I think 1 lap will make a big difference. I think we've got the tyre life to keep the tyres in, so I'm not too concerned. Everyone's pretty much gone for the 1 stop onto softs, but we're going to be on a very nice, rapid and fresh ultra soft compound tyres. So I'm looking forward to it. 2.1, an absolutely fantastic pit stop, and I think we're going to rejoin in P7 if all goes according to plan. We've got Kvyat coming down the pit lane, so it's going to be very close here, but I'm going to hopefully beat him out of the pits. If not, it's going to be very close, and Kvyat, I think, he's just come out ahead of me, so we're going to have to pass both of the Toro Rossos, but we are guaranteed a finishing points finishing position here today, so I'm looking forward to this final stint. So let's try and dig into these tyres and see what they have to offer. Okay, right behind Kvyat here. The grip on these tyres is absolutely ridiculous, and we're going to make a nice comfortable move on the Russian here. I'm not going to use rich mix, I'm going to just keep it in standard because I don't really need it. And here we go then on the brakes up the inside. To be fair, Kvyat was pretty good on the brakes there, but I'm just going to barge my way through, and there we go, we're up at the P7. Wow, look at that. That's not something you see very often in this career mode. A fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I believe that's the first time I've ever done something like that before, if you don't count the wet to dry conditions. But wow, that is incredible. A fast lap of the race. Okay, I'm literally pushing signs through these corners. I've got so much pace on these tyres, it's absolutely unbelievable. But it's going to be a very nice move on signs, I think, once we get the run on him. Probably going to get him into the hairpin, hopefully, and that way he also won't really overtake me. So here we go, going to set ourselves up for the move and also pick up the DRS in the process. Into the hairpin, up the inside of signs here, inside line, traction on, and then back up into rich mix. Let's try and power through it here, and also we'll have DRS, so let's just try and get away from Carlos. But let's see if we can catch Ricciardo here. He's a little bit far ahead, but I've got the pace here. Okay, so my pace is still good. I'm still faster than Ricciardo, but the gap is still about 11.5 seconds. So I'm not going to catch him, I don't think, unless something happens. But still, I'm very proud of the effort so far this race, and the car has been absolutely fantastic, and it's been an absolute joy to drive around here. And we've had a few ups and downs. The last race was a real struggle, but the performance of the car here today has really impressed me, and it sort of leaves a good taste in my mouth going towards next season, which will be very exciting. But yeah, really good final race to close things off here, and the pace has been fantastic this race. Here we go then, through the final couple of corners for the final time this season. Raikkonen wins at Abu Dhabi. The champion himself, the two-time back-to-back world champion, and a three-time in total, wins. We come home in a very, very satisfying P6, and pretty much best of the rest, and beating one of the Red Bulls in this final race of the season in the form of Max Verstappen. And I think if all goes according to plan over the winter, get used to us beating the Red Bulls or being in the mix with them, because I've got some big plans, and we'll see those in a moment. But as you can see, River Bene absolutely chuffed with his guy winning the race, and a clean sweep for Ferrari. Ferrari winning the last race of the season, and pretty much now officially confirming Raikkonen as drivers' champion of Ferrari, as constructors' champion, and wrapping things up with a 1-2 of Sebastian Vettel in second place. So literally absolutely perfect for Ferrari then in terms of their overall week. And as you can see there, lovely little shot of my helmet for the season, P6, and I think I'm going to probably keep it for next year, because I'm really pleased with how the design looks. But a very, very enjoyable race here. I don't know if there'll be much talking about, because I was actually just enjoying driving around the circuit for a change. Complete contrast to Brazil, where we almost got lapped. That was a much more enjoyable race than actually on the pace of the leaders, and actually getting our fastest lap of the race in there, which was absolutely incredible. Eventually that got demolished by Raikkonen. But overall, we're now going to look at the final race results, drivers and constructors standings for the final time this season. Right, looking at the final race results, Raikkonen wins with Vettel in second place with the 1-2 for Ferrari, with Bottas in P3 ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and Daniel Ricciardo in P5 for Red Bull. Myself bringing it home in P6 where I started, so very happy with that result, and one of the best laps of the Grand Prix, so I'm very, very proud of that one. Carlos Sainz and Daniel Kvyat fighting through the field to get 7th and 8th ahead of my teammate Esteban Ocon, who also finished where he started, and Max Verstappen rounds out the top 10, and disappointing race for him there, only P10, but Julian Palmer in P11, Felipe Massa in 12th, Roman Grosjean in P13 for Haas. As we scroll further down the order, you can see that Nico Hulkenberg was in P14 for Renault there, Magnussen down to 15th from a P11 start grid place, Lance Stroll from last to 16th, not too bad, and then it's the usual four suspect, Stoffel Van Dorn bringing up the rear. No retirements in the final race, which is pretty good to see. But looking at the final driver standings at the end of the season, you can see that Kimi Raikkonen wins it in the end by 90 points, and Vettel takes the runner-up position, and I finish in P6, splitting both of the Red Bulls there, so I'm very, very proud of that one, and hopefully, like I said, the sign of things to come for next season with my teammate Esteban Ocon finishing in 9th place. But looking at the Constructors final, you can see that we bring home 4th place for the 2nd consecutive season running. And we actually pretty much ended up neck and neck in terms of how close we were to Red Bull and how close Williams were to us. I think Williams are slightly closer to us than what we are to Red Bull. But basically, next season, we're going to really push hard to become a top 3 team. And you'll see exactly why in a moment's time. But we're now going to jump into the laptop and try and plan next season's big changes, unless something else happens beforehand.
Hey, quick question. How are you here? Are you happy? I mean, obviously, I hope so, but you do have some other options if you're up for a new challenge. Let me just grab the door. I had a call from another team a few weeks ago, and well, things have moved on since then. These are the offers I've managed to put together for you. You don't have to do anything with them, but let me know what you think.
Right, guys, we've got a huge dilemma here. Oh my god, I really don't want this to be the case, but I really wasn't expecting to get these sort of contract offers, but we've got the chance to go to Mercedes AMG Petronas as a number 1 first driver. Oh no, oh my, this is such a tough decision. We could also go to Ferrari, which is my favourite team, and also we've got the chance to go to Red Bull, which is very interesting. The 3 best teams in Formula 1, and I can do that while I stick with the 4th best team and try and get them further up the grid. I'm very tempted, I'm not going to lie, to get this offer. Unfortunately, I wish I could postpone the decision, but I've got to make a decision right now. So I've thought about it long and hard, and I've read a lot of you guys' comments, and these were the 2 options that I pretty much left on the table. I haven't done a poll video because I've pretty much made up my mind myself, and even though I would like you guys to vote, I think you guys would want me to do this anyway. So even though this is very tempting, I'm going to sign and stay with Sahara Force India for another season, because we've got them this far, so why not let's take them to the next level, because otherwise the last 2 seasons will be for nothing. So we might as well get Force India and drag them right to the very top. So let's sign the contract. Right, job done. So we've signed the deal, we're staying with Force India for another season, and we have 4,450 resource points saved up. And we're about to go big. And I mean big. So, first upgrade. You can see in the bottom right, this is going to get us above Renault. We're going straight in. And this is going to arrive for Australia. Any upgrades I get right now are going to arrive for the Australian Grand Prix. So there we go. We're going to get another one there. And we've still got 1,750 points left. So, let's move over to the chassis. And let's see what we can improve here. Let's see. I'm looking towards possible tyre wear improvements, so let's have a look. Tyre wear is along the bottom here, so this is where I want to be. So we're going to focus on this here. So we're going to go for the roll dampers, and we're going to get this upgrade. So we're going to get that, and then we've got 750 more points to spend, which I can't really spend here. So I might spend in this one here to try and make it cheaper. So we need 750 points. That's exactly what we have, and it'll make future chassis upgrades 10% cheaper. So we're going to get that as well, and bang, we've cleaned up the R&D points, absolutely nothing left, and we are bringing big upgrades for Australia next season. And if everything, as you can see in the bottom right there, arrives for Australia, we're going to be the 4th best team by quite a mile as we jump Williams. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's a promising season next time out. But I'm very much excited. We're pretty much going to bridge the gap from the midfield to the top teams next year, literally filling in that gap that there is between Red Bull and Williams. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Obviously, we've got to keep an eye and see what upgrades the other guys bring respectively for other teams. But basically next season, we're going to really bring the chassis up to scratch, and maybe one error upgrade here or there. But next season, the focus is going to be on the chassis, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So guys, that is going to be the end of season 2 of Cream, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you haven't, then please do smash the like button. Let's try and smash 350 likes for this video. It's a very ambitious target, but I know you guys can do it for me. Also, if you're new to the channel, why not subscribe for more F1 content, which should be coming your way very soon. And also check out these videos on screen if you haven't done so already. And also check out GT Mega in the link down below in the description. Use the code TOM97 for a cheeky 5% discount at checkout. Other than that, guys, a massive thank you for the support in the season, and I'll see you very soon for the start of season 3.